the entire state of Massachusetts. Uh, they put me in charge of the entry level guys. It was there was various skill levels in the factory, and the entry level guys did this board stuffing type operation, and I was the foreman. And they liked the fact that I had military experience. They hired a lot of ex-military guys. This being a defense contractor, it was a nice, it, you could apply the principles you had from military experience into this job. So, but here's what I didn't tell you. This was a union company. If you ever work with a union, the only thing worse than the union was the management. And here I was like in the middle. The management telling me to do outrageous things, but it's your job. Do all these blah 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 blah, blah. And then the union fighting tooth and nail to try to be as inefficient as possible. It was almost like working as a negotiator between two competing companies, even though it was all one company. So I had about 100 guys working directly for me. Now here's the thing. So this was a union company. Once they're in the union, you got you can't even look at them, and they'll put in a grievance. I mean, it's brutal. It's brutal to try to get anything done when they're in union. But I had this entry level position whereby they had 90 days. We'd hire new guys. They'd have 90 days before they were allowed to join the union. So they were kind of like free meat. That's not the official word. That's the word I use. But anyway, they were kind of like free agents. So they were auditioning to work there. So you had 90 days. And you knew that if these guys were screw ups in 90 days, you knew that they were going to be a complete disaster once they got in the union. So my job was to filter out the dead wood as much as possible. And I mean, that was my job. And I'm not a guy who likes to scream and yell and be mean and stuff like that. But I had to fire a lot of guys that were, I'm telling you, real riffraff that if they were allowed to stay and get in the union, we would have had real trouble. As it was, a lot of them figured out the game and were, perfect employees for 90 days and then turned into Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde after 90 days, and they were still bad news. But you knew that if they were bad, at least if they were bad in 90 days, they were going to be awful. Anyway, I'm kind of proud of this. It's kind of funny, but they used to call my nickname at this place was the Terminator. The Arnold Schwarzenegger movie had just come out, so they used to call me the Terminator, which is kind of ironic because I'm really one of the nicest guys that you can possibly imagine. But anyway, I had to get rid of some of this riffraff, and I think I still hold the record for most firings. I mean, the previous guys didn't have the backbone to do it. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. Anyway, that was still a tough job. You don't like to do that to anybody, even if people that you don't like it are miserable. So I worked there 10 years and moved in various jobs. This particular Terminator position was only about a 2-year thing, and then I moved on into a financial role. I had a finance degree, and my specialty became what's called cost accounting, which was measuring the cost of what it takes to manufacture stuff. From purchase stuff to the actual labor to overhead, all that stuff. I became an expert in that, and all the systems all the manufacturing systems that accompany manufacturing and how it all integrates. So I got that skill. That's why I'm telling you this. Now from the posts I have, I'm not a technical guy, but I've been project manager of. They used to move me around to wherever there was a bottleneck in production because they knew that I could take care of it. Um, Even when I was working in a finance job, they called me off and put me on the floor, and they had a problem getting these missiles out, and I streamlined it and like quadrupled the output over a 90-day period because no one else could figure out how to do it, I guess. So you just got to look at it logically and break it up into parts, and those parts that have more bottlenecks, you put more people in there or whatever. I mean, to me, it was common sense, and then taking action. But they just couldn't find anybody before me. God, this is getting David Wood length. Anyway, so after that, I got a job in the semiconductor world, and now I'm on my second semiconductor company. Our first one got bought out by Texas Instruments, and they released a lot of us, and I was lucky to land on my feet at another semiconductor company. Great company, great opportunities. Company's doing pretty well. Semiconductors are a very cyclical industry. They're either going full blast or we're putting on the brakes. And I have a senior position there, and I am the cost system expert, believe